You won't believe what these brothers did to the woman who rejected their advances. Keep watching to find out more. These two brothers are among India's most wanted fugitives. They were on the run for 6 years, evading the police and sleeping in different cities every night so that they would not be traced. The brothers had even changed their appearance. But finally, after 6 years, the luck ran out of these heartless monsters when they were nabbed by the police from a flat in Nagpur. Who are these brothers? What is the heinous crime they committed? And how were they caught? Let's find out in today's episode. On November 9, 2016, in the Indian state of Uttar Pradesh, two brothers murdered a young woman and then burnt her body. It was a brutal murder. These monsters had poured acid on her face to make sure that she died a horrible death. If this wasn't enough, they also chopped off her limbs and then set her ablaze. This was no ordinary murder. The victim knew her killers. She had actually rejected the advances of these perverted brothers. This infuriated the brothers, and therefore, in order to teach her a lesson, they decided to kill her. This is the story of 22-year-old Priyanka Bhartia. Priyanka worked at a private firm in Noida. One evening while returning home from work, Priyanka took a shortcut through a field. That's when the brothers accosted her. When they asked her for a relationship, she refused, and that enraged them. In a fit of rage, the brothers killed her. In this case, the police arrested 10 people. Out of these, 8 were directly involved in the crime, while the other 2 helped the main accused in destroying the evidence. But after the arrests, 2 brothers, Junaid Ahmad, 28, and Parvez Ahmad, 26, went missing. All efforts to nab them failed, and the 2 brothers managed to give the police the slip. The UP police announced a bounty of 50,000 rupees on the arrest of each of these brothers. Despite that, for the next 5 years, there was no trace of the brothers, and they continued to remain at large. But now the UP police claims that it has nabbed both of them. On Monday, officials of the Nagpur Crime Branch along with the UP Special Task Force arrested the 2 brothers from a flat in Nagpur. This breakthrough came after a tip-off that the brothers were hiding in the city. A team was sent to trace them, and finally they were found. It was around 3:30 a.m. when the police raided the flat where these monsters were hiding. The brothers had transformed themselves beyond recognition. They had grown their hair long to conceal their faces and were wearing different clothes. So when the police raided the flat, the brothers opened the door themselves. They had no idea that the visitors were cops in disguise. So when the police revealed their identity, the brothers tried to flee but were caught. When the police searched the house, they found forged documents and some weapons. The brothers had been living in Nagpur under fake identities. The police have also seized 2 bikes, several mobile phones and laptops, and some cash. So how exactly were these criminals nabbed? Well, according to Additional Superintendent of Police Rajkumar Sharma, the brothers had come from Delhi. They had been staying in Nagpur for quite some time. He further said that the local police had also received an input about these 2 men. After this, the local police contacted the UP STF and informed them about the presence of these 2 criminals. Immediately, a team of UP STF and Nagpur police reached the spot and nabbed these 2 brothers. According to the police, these brothers had revealed their real identities during interrogation. Moreover, the police also recovered a diary from the possession of these brothers. This diary contains details of all their criminal activities. The brothers had been involved in several crimes like extortion and robbery. Apparently, they used to target women for such crimes. But why were these brothers carrying such a huge amount of cash? According to the ASP, the brothers had come to Nagpur for extortion. They were looking for some influential persons whom they could blackmail. For this, they needed money. So that's why they were carrying a huge amount of cash. But how did the police confirm their identity? You see, after the incident, the family had identified the brothers from a photo lineup, but later they could not be traced. The police say that the brothers had undergone plastic surgery. Their facial features had been altered so much that even their parents could not recognize them. However, the brothers were ultimately nabbed based on some vital clues. What were these clues? You see, when the police searched the flat, they found a water bottle. On checking this bottle, it was found that it belonged to Haryana. It had a sticker of a Hanuman temple located in Haryana. This gave the police an important lead. They got in touch with the Haryana police and sought details of the person who had purchased this water bottle. The details revealed that one Muhammad Asif had purchased this water bottle. He had bought it from a shop near his house. A manhunt was immediately launched to nab this Muhammad Asif. Meanwhile, The police also checked call detail records of Priyanka's family members. One number kept popping up, and that was none other than the number of the prime accused, Junaid Ahmad. Now, this provided a solid lead to the police. Since both these men, Muhammad Asif and Junaid Ahmad, were in Haryana, the police immediately dispatched a team to the state. To their surprise, the team found both these men at the same spot. And here's the interesting part. Both these men knew each other. So when the police interrogated Muhammad Asif, he spilled the beans. He confessed that Junaid Ahmad was his maternal uncle and Parvez Ahmad was his cousin brother. And here's another interesting piece of information. Apparently, Muhammad Asif was the main conspirator behind the crime. You heard that right. The very man who was giving information to the police was the main conspirator behind the crime. But how? Well, let me explain. It appears that the police had actually arrested Muhammad Asif following the incident. But since he had changed his appearance, the family failed to recognize him. Therefore, he was let off. Later, he fled to Haryana. Why did he flee? Because he had made some suspicious phone calls just before the crime. So if the police could nab him, he would be linked to the crime. Now, why did he involve the two brothers in the crime? Apparently, he was in love with Priyanka, but she rejected him. Enraged by this, he hatched a plan to kill Priyanka. He called his maternal uncle Junaid Ahmad and told him everything. Junaid brought his son Parvez, and both the brothers killed Priyanka. Later, the three of them destroyed the evidence and fled. This is where things get really interesting. You see, after the crime, the police had arrested 8 persons. Some of these 8 persons were close relatives of Muhammad Asif. He was concerned that once his relatives are in jail, they would spill the beans and implicate him. So that's why he went into hiding. All these years, he was in regular touch with his maternal uncle, Junaid Ahmad. They used to meet frequently, and whenever Junaid and Parvez were low on cash, Asif used to give them some money. Apparently, this money was meant to sustain these brothers and help them evade the police. During interrogation, Junaid admitted that he and his son Parvez had been on the run for 6 years. They had slept in different cities every night to avoid being traced. He further said that to avoid detection, they had even changed their appearance. They wore different colored clothes and grew their hair long. But why did they finally decide to surrender? According to the police, the brothers were tired of running. They had spent all their savings and were finding it difficult to sustain. So eventually they decided to surrender. At first, the brothers had refused to go with the police. They insisted that they would rather surrender before the court. But the police convinced them otherwise. According to the ASP, the brothers will be produced before the media today. Later, they will be taken to Lucknow. Meanwhile, the mastermind behind the crime, Muhammad Asif, is still absconding. The police is conducting raids to nab him. Now, here's something that you need to know. It is being said that the two brothers are the sons of a notorious gangster named Mukhtar Ansari. Mukhtar Ansari was killed in an encounter in 2020. His sons, Junaid and Parvez, took over his criminal empire after his death. Mukhtar Ansari had around 100 cases of murder, extortion, kidnapping, and land grabbing against him. According to reports, Junaid and Parvez had even threatened the judge and the public prosecutor in this case. This is one of the reasons why the brothers remained at large for so long. Their father's influence in the region was so strong that nobody dared to arrest them. But now that their father is dead, they thought that they could manage on their own. Little did they know that the long arm of the law will catch up with them sooner or later. As for the victim's family, they are yet to come to terms with what happened. The mother says that she is happy that the culprits have been arrested. At the same time, she is angry with the government for not providing justice to her daughter all these years. Here's what the mother told the media. I am happy that the culprits have been arrested, but I want to ask the government what action was being taken against the criminals all these years. My daughter was killed 6 years ago, and the government did not bother to trace the criminals. Well, whatever be the case, the fact remains that the two brothers have been arrested, and this is a victory for the justice system. These monsters had been evading the police for 6 long years, but finally they have been nabbed. As for the mastermind, Muhammad Asif, the police is on his trail, and hopefully he will also be arrested soon. Now for the most important question, what will happen to these brothers now? Will they get the death penalty? Well, only time will tell. But one thing is certain, these monsters will never walk free again. As per reports, a special court will be set up to try these brothers. They will not be granted bail. The Uttar Pradesh government is committed to providing justice to the victim's family. However, the question still remains, Why did the brothers chop off the limbs of the victim and then burn her body? What was the need to deface the body? Well, apparently the brothers wanted to make sure that the victim's body cannot be identified. They killed her in a brutal manner and then mutilated her body so that nobody could recognize her. But why did they do so? Well, you'll have to wait and watch to find out. This is an ongoing investigation and more details will emerge soon. As of now, we can say that the police has done a commendable job. Despite all the odds, they managed to nab the culprits. But this case raises a lot of questions. How did the mastermind, Muhammad Asif, manage to escape all these years? Why did the brothers chop off the limbs of the victim and burn her body? And what was the real motive behind the crime? Well, we don't have the answers to these questions, but one thing is certain, this case will be closely watched in the coming days. And that's all for today's episode. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more updates. This case is still under investigation and more details may emerge in the future.